Hey everybody, Jeff Reinhart here, LMP and Lancaster Online. Welcome in to Week 7, LL League Football. It's the Huddle podcast, sponsored by Auto House of Lancaster. Week 7 on deck. Interesting week. 2 games on Thursday, 15 games on Friday, 1 game on Saturday, 1 trophy game, and 1 team is idle. Penn Manor's not playing this week. I'll get to that. There's an interesting backstory there. Nothing Titanic. There's no first place game. Those are coming quickly. I'm going to call this the last week before the stretch drive. Week 8, 9, and 10, a lot is going to happen. A lot's going to get weeded out. First place will be on the line in many sections in week 8, 9, and 10. So nothing against week 7. It's a good schedule. But there shouldn't be a whole lot of changes here in the section races in week 7. And that's okay, because there's some pretty fun games. Like I said, a trophy game and a couple of Thursday matchups. So busy week. Section races, especially district races, are going to get really interesting here. There's several bubble teams that are going to need some dubs here down the stretch to get in. So every game is big. Every game is important. So let's break it down. Week 7, it's the Week 7 card. We're going green this week. 18 games. Nuggets and picks. Ready? Here we go. 2 Thursday games, both in Section 4. Donegal at Twin Valley. That's a 6 o'clock start in Elverson. I want to say it's their homecoming. So they're playing Thursday, and they bumped it up an hour, 6 o'clock. So plan accordingly. Donegal, enjoy that rush hour traffic on Route 23 to get down to Elverson. Twin Valley, I could spend a half an hour on them. They're number 1 in the state, Penn Live state rankings, and 4A. Undefeated, number 1 offense in the league, number 1 defense in the league, most points scored in the league, fewest rushing yards allowed in the league. Tip of the cap to Evan Myers, the quarterback, went over 5,000 career passing yards last week. 5th quarterback in Berks County history to go over 5,000. 3 years here, he will be an LL person. So I'm not sure what to do with his stats. They're in the LL, but he didn't get all of the yards in the LL. But he hit 5,000, which is a cool milestone. Congrats to him. Donegal, who did they get last week? Did they play YO? They had a tough week last week, and now they run into Twin Valley, which is scorching hot. Wow. Donegal can run the ball, but TV can do pretty much everything well, and they're not going to get caught looking ahead here because they play YO next week. Ooh. Raiders over Indians, the other Thursday night game. I will see you in Lampeter for some Thursday night football. Northern Lebanon at LS. Pioneers also undefeated. They're 6-0 teams, still dancing, including Twin Valley and LS here on Thursday night. Pioneers are playing great. They had a shutout win last week. Top 5 defense in the league, probably a top 5 offense in the league. A lot of balance. Caleb House has been terrific in his first year behind center. They are just kind of tactfully, fundamentally picking teams apart. Northern Lebanon, their offense has struggled. They've done great in special teams, but they're only averaging 118 yards a game, which is fewest in the league. So they're looking for some and they got to do it against a really good, chiseled LS defense. Pioneers can't get caught looking ahead. They have Twin Valley and YO coming up in weeks 9 and 10. Ooh. And they have Elko next week. Pioneers here at home. I'll see you Thursday. LS over Northern Lebanon. Friday games. Section 1. McCaskey at Reading for the 102nd time. The Tornado and the Knights will tangle 102 times, and the series is only separated by 2 games. I think it's 49-47 for Reading, with a couple of ties in all of those years. I have McCaskey circled. I still like what they're doing offensively. I know they've lost a couple in a row here, But Cintron and Jones are really good in the passing game, and Washington's having a good year running the ball. Reading has struggled. I still can't believe they're 0-15 in Section 1 games since they've come back to the league. That's a head-scratcher. Road trip for McCaskey. Enjoy the 222 trek. I'll take Tornado over the Knights. Hempfield at Wilson. Interesting game. This has become interesting here the last couple of years. Hempfield won at Wilson 2 years ago. First time they had won in West Lawn in a couple of decades, I think, off the top of my head. Wilson's playing great. Maddox Gruber went off last week. Oh, my goodness. Gursky Lynn trophy game. Passed for 200, rushed for 200, had 5 touchdown passes, tying the school record. And Wilson's been really good. They're on a mission, gang, and now they get Hempfield, which is kind of up and down. You know, they get shut out by Township 1 week, and then they get a shutout victory the next week. Catch has been really good. 1,000 yards passing, leads the league in completions. And I actually wrote about their receivers this week, the fun bunch. They have 4 kids with 10 or more catches. So Hempfield has gone up top a lot, but now they have to solve Wilson in West Lawn. I'll go Bulldogs over Knights. Last Section 1 game. Notice I said last. Manheim Township at Cedar Crest. Blue Streaks are on fire. My goodness. Back-to-back shutout wins. They haven't given up a touchdown in 3 weeks. Carson Weiser's been really good behind center. His last 2 games have been lights out. He was 8 for 9 last week for 230 and 5 touchdowns. Lex Haberbosch had a big game, 3 long touchdown catches. Declan Clancy's at 900-plus rushing yards. He should hit 1,000 this week. Township is number 1 in District 3, 6A, and they've won 16 regular season games in a row. Any questions? Crest, kind of up and down, more ups than downs. Beat Reading last week. Custer's been good. The Zimmerman kid's been really good running the ball. They had 12 penalties for 125 yards last week. Ouch. But still won and put up 40. Got to play a clean game here. I know Township's got to go on the road. But they're gnarly. Streaks over Falcons. Penn Manor, and I have Idle here. Penn Manor's not playing Friday. I'll give you the Cliff's Notes version real quick. Here we go. Penn Manor and Garden Spot came into the season with open dates. Penn Manor needed a Week 7 game. Garden Spot needed a Week 8 game. 2 teams got together, hashed it out. Here's what they're doing, real quick. Penn Manor is not playing this week. Penn Manor's playing Garden Spot on Tuesday in Week 8. Next Tuesday, varsity football in New Holland. Comets at Sparty Nation. Penn Manor then will turn around and play 3 days later at Wilson next week, and Garden Spot will be off next Friday. So they're each getting a Friday off. They're going to play on a Tuesday, and then the Comets have to turn around and play Friday at Wilson. So not ideal, I guess, but the kids are going to get a 10th game, and that's kind of what it's all about. You only get 10 of these, and you want to play 10. So never got the full story on why both teams had open dates all that time coming in, but they will get 10 games. They'll play next Tuesday in New Holland. Plan accordingly. Section 2, here we go. I got to get snappy. Governor Mifflin at Conestoga Valley. Bucks are 6-0. They've done it the last couple of weeks without Jaden Johnson. Got hurt in the Ephrata game. He's been out. We'll see if he gets back here. Bucks are like the number 2 defense in the league, 2 or 3. Very balanced. Sawyer Espenshade has been great, and they've had literally 15 kids get carries. So a lot of depth for the Bucks. Got to stop Mifflin's rushing attack. Grady Garner, it seems like I write about him every day. 800-plus rushing yards, 14 touchdown runs. He's been really good. So Bucks got to stop the Veer. Mifflin has to stop CV's balance. I got CV circled. They're 6-0. I can't pick against the 6-0 team right now. Can't do it. I will see you Friday night in Whitmer to check out the Bucks and the Mustangs. I'll go CV over Mifflin. E-Town at Lebanon. Bears feeling better about things. Got a win last week. Held off Muhlenberg 36-34. Prince Ratto rushed for 150 and a touchdown. Brady Moran rushed for 140 and a touchdown. So E-Town kind of found it, put up 36 points, rushed for a bunch of yards, scored, moved the ball, kicked 3 field goals, finished drives. Bears in the win column. Lebanon, they're up to 38 now. I hate to keep reminding you of that. My goodness. Malachi Bridell, let's mention his name. I write about him as much as I can. He leads the league in receiving yards. He's averaging 23 yards a catch. He's been a big bright spot for the Cedars. He should be a first-team Section 2 All-Star wide receiver. He's been really good. But I'll go E-Town here. Bears have some mo coming off a win. They get the retooling Cedars. Bears over Lebanon. Muhlenberg at Exeter, a couple of Berks teams, slugging it out. Cameron Small for Muhlenberg went over 1,000 rushing yards last week, rushed for 250-plus against E-Town. First kid in the league with 1,000. He's at 1,021, leads the way. Exeter, oh my. They've only given up 26 points in 6 games. 26. That's pretty good. And their numbers are just as lopsided. Zandir's been great. Riley Martinez, 14 touchdowns, no picks. And their defense has been, oh wow, just really, really good. Chiseled. I have the Eagles circled here at home. Love what Muhlenberg is doing. And they have an outside shot at districts. But I got to go Eagles here. They're just playing out of their mind. Exeter over Muhlenberg. Section 3. Conrad Weiser at Garden Spot. Scouts 6-0. Survived a shootout last week against Solanco, 56-35. Golden Mules have played some crazy games if you go back and look at their numbers. Weiser's D slipped a little. They were number 1 last week. Solanco put up a bunch of rushing yards. So Scouts dip a little bit in the total D number, but still 6-0, firing, playing great. They got to go to New Holland, Garden Spot, A.J. Hurst, quarterback, who's having a really nice season, 1,100 yards, 14 touchdowns, reportedly got hurt in the game last week against Warwick. Warriors win that 21-6. Gabe Martin switched from running back to quarterback to finish out the game. We will see if A.J. Hurst is back behind center here. Don't forget, Garden Spot's got to turn around and then play next Tuesday against Penn Manor. I have Weiser circled. I'm going with all the 6-0s this week. Can't pick against them. Scouts over Spartans. Fleetwood at Warwick. Fleetwood shutout win last week, 28-0 over Kenderdale. Tristan McFarland, 7 catches, 186, 2 touchdowns, including a 95-yarder. That'll work. Peshin rushed for 130. And this McMonigal kid is now the quarterback. He started the last 2 weeks, and he's over like 500 passing yards, passed for 309 and 3 touchdowns last week. So it looks like the Tigers have their quarterback. But I have Warwick circled here, gang. Believe me, and I'm in the stats every day, thumbing through and looking at numbers. Warwick has no numbers that will blow you away. They just don't. They have no kids with the league leaders in rushing or receiving or nothing. But their defense has been edgy, and they're making plays when they have to. Got another win last week with a good defensive performance. I have Warwick circled. They're in this, and they're in line for a district spot. And they've been good without any gaudy stats. Warwick over Fleetwood. Mannheim Central at Solanco. That's always an interesting game down in Corryville. Solanco, 2,100 rushing yards, leads the league. Johnny Garcia over, is he at 900, 800 rushing yards? He's been good. Chris Burgos Wise is averaging 14 yards a carry. He's been great as their speedback kid. Solanco's just not stopping people. They've given up 50 plus in the last 2 weeks in shootout games, and they dropped them both. Barons 2-4 for the first time since 2020, which I don't hold 2020 against Mannheim. It was just kind of a flush-it season. It was the COVID season. They were not a powerhouse team, and everybody struggled every week. Are they going to play? Are they not going to play? Can we pick up a game on the fly? I don't remember much about 2020, but I remember that. And Central struggled that season, so 2-4 for the first time in 4 years for the Barons. Fall to Cocalico last week, 30-14. Did some things through the air. Lewis had 2 touchdown passes, but Central's offense is still kind of stuck here, looking for bigger and better things. I have Solanco circled. Their rushing attack has been really hard to stop, even in losses. And if this gets to be a shootout kind of a game, the Mules, just the way they've been running the ball, I like them here. Final answer, Solanco over Mannheim Central. 1 Section 4 game on Friday night, because there's 2 Thursday and 1 Saturday. Octorara at Elko. Interesting game. Octorara's on the bubble for districts, so they need a win. Elko got a win last week, beat Boone 19-14. Mitchell Frederick, let's mention him, back-to-back 100-yard games for their fullback. So they have found that. Figured it'd be tough replacing Jake Williams. And Elko hasn't really flashed that tailback, halfback kid, and that's okay. But Mitchell Frederick's been really good. He's been like 125 plus with a touchdown in the last 2 games. I have the Raiders circled here on the turf in Myerstown. Elko over Octorara. Okay, Friday night, Section 5. Kutztown at Berks. Catholic. Berks, 2 losses in a row against Catholic and Schuylkill Valley, and last week they're in it. Schuylkill Valley got a late touchdown to pull that one out, 20-14. Like Berks here, Rose and Gumby running the ball, heck of a 1-2 punch. I think they can score. Kutztown winless, which is a bit of a surprise. I've picked them 1 or 2 weeks. They're back at the drawing board, and a tough game here on the road, on the turf. Saints, they're 2-4, but if they can navigate the last 4 weeks here, they could go postseason dancing, so they need it. Saints over Cougars. Hamburg at Pequay Valley. Saw Hamburg last week. They kind of quick striked Lancaster Catholic, got the opening kickoff and went right down the field, like literally, like a 4-play drive. Boom, 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 touchdown. Shuey's been good, no picks. Blaze Ernst had a big game last week, rushed for 140, had a late touchdown to cap it. They're undefeated. Well, now they've won 5 in a row. My bad. They've won 5 in a row, and they had the forfeit win, so their stats are a little funky because they've only been on the field for 5 games. Pequay Valley put up 52 points last week, rushed for 400 yards. Trevor Vollmer, tip of the cap young man, rushed for 180. And Pequay Valley, big win last week to get back to 500. So sneakily, the Braves are having a really good season. Tough foe here. Hamburg, like I said, can quick strike you, good passing attack. They can also stick it on the ground and chew up yardage that way. So I'll go Hawks here. They have Schuylkill Valley next week. Wink, wink. A lot riding on that one in the Frost Bowl, but I'll go Hamburg here. They're not going to get caught looking ahead. Hawks over Braves. Columbia at Schuylkill Valley. Schuylkill Valley, really good win last week. Cohen Gerner, late 68-yard touchdown catch. They beat Berks Catholic. He had a big game, 20-plus tackles, a couple of fumble recoveries. Schuylkill Valley had a pick 6 last week by Kowalski. So they're playing well. They've found it. They're in first place with Hamburg. At home against the Tide, which avoided being shut out last week. Let's start with the positives. They had been shut out back-to-back weeks, but they punched in a touchdown against Pequay Valley, but they gave up a lot, 400 rushing yards, 50 points, etc. Tide are struggling and looking for it and searching for any kind of positivity, and now they got to go to Leesport and play the first place team. Let's go Panthers here. SV over Columbia. Lancaster Catholic at Anvil Cleona. Saw Catholic last week. Brandon Way had a big night, rushed for 160. Here's the bugaboo. Catholic had seven holding calls, and the play came back, and a couple of them were like long first down plays in drives, and that really stung them. That burnt Catholic in that game. And like I said, Hamburg kind of quick striked them and got a quick lead, and Catholic just could not come back late, and they fall. They go to Anvil Cleona, Dutchman, sneakily. I think that's my favorite word this week. Dutchmen have won a couple in a row, rushing the heck out of the ball. They're coming up on 2,000 rushing yards. Shea's been good running the ball, and Bryce Keller converted, quarterback. He was a running back his whole career. Now he's playing QB. Last 2 weeks, 8 for 10, 225, 4 touchdowns. And Anvil, they don't throw the ball, but it's clicked the last couple of weeks. So Anvil's in this. And this is an interesting game. I have Catholic circled. I think the Crusaders might have a couple of too many line guys. I think they'll probably be bigger in the trenches. And if they can slow down Catholics, if they can slow down Anvil's rushing attack a little bit, I think the Crusaders can win. This could be one of those wacky Section 5, 48-45 games. We shall see, but let's go Crusaders over Anvil. Last Friday night game, non-league, if it sounds familiar, it should. Cocalico at Ephrata for the Ephrata Review Cup trophy game. They met last November in the district final. Over at Cocalico, 23-9. Eagles win on that crazy night. They were lining up at like 9 in the morning to get in there, and they had to stop selling tickets, and it was just a mob scene. So here's the rematch. Cocalico found it. 3 wins in a row. Really good defense. Bollinger's back off the knee injury. He had 12 tackles in his debut last week against Central. Epined had a punt return for a touchdown last week. Meyer's been steady at quarterback, 500-plus rushing yards. Dane Horning picked up the slack running the ball at fullback. And their defense, as mentioned, really solid. We were at Cocalico this week for the video show. Stay tuned for that. Ephrata, kind of up and down, herky-jerky. I think they're 500. Mounts are 3-3. Good week, odd week, great week, strange week. Have the statement win over Mannheim, and then CB took care of them pretty big. They ran into Exeter last week, so they've already played the Section 2 leaders. So let's see if the Mounts can have a strong finish here and try and get back to the playoffs. I have Cocalico circled. Tons of rivalry game. These kids know each other. They hang out at the McDonald's and Ephrata, I'm sure, all the time together. But let's go Cocalico here. I like what they're doing. They have found it. And they know they have Weiser coming up shortly, and they can't get caught looking ahead. Eagles over Mounts. Enjoy the war. That place should be hopping on Friday. Saturday game, Section 4, Daniel Boone at Wyomissing. Spartans, they're playing really well. Shutout win last week. Justice Hardy kid finds different ways to score every game. He gets a pick 6. He returns a kick. He has a run. He has a catch. Their defense is playing well. They've rushed for 800-plus yards in the last 3 weeks. So Wyo's really found it, and they have LS and Twin Valley coming up, TV next week in Elverson. Can't get caught looking ahead here. Boone's been tricky. Hayden Moyer having a huge year throwing the ball, over 1,000 up top. Hefner, Delasant, those guys have been really good catching the ball. I'm kind of surprised Boone is winless at this point with the numbers they've put up and the way they've been moving the ball. But they're looking for a win, and this is a tough one here. Wyo at home on a Saturday with the old-timey marching band music playing. Tall order. Spartans here. Wyo over Daniel Boone. Week 7 winners. Twin Valley, LS, McCaskey, Wilson, Township, CV, E-Town, Exeter, Weiser, Warwick, Solanco, Elko, Berks Catholic, Hamburg, Schuylkill Valley, Lancaster Catholic, Cocalico, and Wyo. Penn Manor Comets, enjoy your Friday night off. Thursday, I'll see you for Northern Lebanon at LS. Friday, I will see you for Governor Mifflin at Conestoga Valley. Week 7, Huddle Podcast, LA League Football, sponsored by Auto House of Lancaster. Enjoy Week 7. Coverage all weekend. We'll be at all of these games, photo galleries, game stories. I'll get you stats. I'll get you helmet sticker winners. We'll wrap it all up and then turn our attention to what will be a very interesting Week 8. Stay tuned. Enjoy the games this weekend. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.